Okay, so this is yeah. Hi.
Didn't we hit
We
you hit there was a year. There was an anniversary, wasn't it? You said
there
there was
was the first anniversary of the podcast. Its first birthday.
baby podcast.
YouTube sent me a happy birthday.
That's cute.
I was like, thank you, YouTube. I appreciate that. I was like, wow, I'm glad you're keeping track because I wasn't. Um, what was I just gonna say? Shoot.
Oh, I
So
interrupted
this is like episode 38.
you. Okay.
This is infidelity part 2.
Hmm.
My dog's going crazy. Can you hear
I
her?
can't hear her at all. In fact, I'm disappointed. I wonder what she's
Good.
doing.
I think her favorite dog neighborhood friend just walked by. So she like wants to go out there, but that's not happening. So, okay, the first thing I wanted to say, okay, this is part 2 of infidelity. And we left off talking about kind of like why do people cheat? It's not always the reasons you think. Like, and we also kind of said, like, when someone says, like, I didn't mean to hurt you, we really both kind of believe that,
Yeah.
unless, like you said, it's an abusive type of situation. And that also, too, very difficult to probably remember when if you experience this personally, it's really not about you.
Mhm.
It is about what is going on with the other person. So,
Mhm.
okay, Mark Manson, who wrote The Subtle Art of Giving a Fuck,
Mhm.
and also wrote Everything's Fucked Up, a book about hope,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
sends out an email every Monday.
Okay.
And the one that he sent out the other day was really interesting. And they're really short. And what he does is like he mentions a few things and he challenges you to do something that week. Like,
Okay.
so he said, like, you know, everybody wants to be loved, secure, and appreciated.
Yes.
Like he said, he's like, you don't need your partner, you need to be loved. You don't need your job, you need to feel secure,
Okay.
right? You don't need like social media likes, you need to be appreciated.
Okay. Makes sense.
And my little thought was, what if someone's in a committed relationship
Yeah.
and they don't feel loved, secure, appreciated, and they're in a extra outside the relationship situation, and that does make them feel loved and
Mhm.
secure and appreciated,
Mhm.
you know and I mean these are the types of things we're like talking about here, right? I mean, you can be in a long-term committed relationship, and like we said last week, and feel completely and utterly alone
Mhm.
in it. um Also, when another phrase my sister uses sometimes, like, my oldest sister Elizabeth, when we talk about these situations, like you hear about a couple breaking up because of infidelity, and you're like, who was it? Who cheated? Oh, it was the wife. What a bitch. Like my sister, she has another saying, which is everyone is the villain in someone's story.
Mm.
So, like, I know whose story I'm the villain in,
I know
and
the story I'm the villain in. Yeah. Hmm.
I will stay the villain in that story until, you know, one of us dies. Um, but like, and then there are people, I actually don't want to hold on to stuff like that in my life anymore, but so there's no one I really consider a villain in my life.
Yeah, me neither.
Um,
Yeah.
there are people that I've experienced hurt, right? I don't want to call him a villain. But when we
Right.
come into situations like infidelity,
Hmm.
some people have such a violent reaction to it. Like, if they find out that the wife cheated on the husband, that they will never speak to that woman again, right? Like they'll be cut out, they'll be ostracized, they'll
Oh,
be
yeah. It's a hardcore thing,
vilified.
especially if you've got your own personal experience with it, then you attach it. It's a double thing. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
Like you re-experience it. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say about Mark Manson.
Okay.
And then also too, I thought when my dad was still alive, there was actually a song that he loved, and it was Carrie Underwood's "Before He Cheats."
Oh,
But you know what? That song, for some women, might be kind of an anthem.
anthem.
I mean, because she is unapologetically
Hmm.
vengeful. And,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's a song, and so it's fun, but I mean, not fun, but like she has more latitude
It's
to.
kind of a fun song. It's
Well, is
got
it?
it's yeah.
Yes, it's a fun song, but then when you listen to the lyrics and she's beating the shit out of the guy's car,
Yeah.
but there are women out there who are probably like, yes,
Uh-huh.
dream of doing that, but of course they'd get arrested. But that's what I mean about this subject.
Well,
It's
it's such a
so it's
personal.
visceral. It's
Yeah.
visceral
And
and
I think
personal and
that's the thing. Like when you are able to take the personalization out of it, which is a lot to ask, then you have a different perspective. But the reason it gets so hot is because it's such an intense level of betrayal.
huge. And so I also found an article that I thought was extremely interesting. Like we
Okay.
talked about different situations, different types of cheating, right? Physical, emotional,
Yeah.
and we kind of touched on like the virtual or online or cyber, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I just read this article the other day, and I know that I sent it to myself, but I just read this article. This woman wrote in, it was kind of like, I don't know if it was like one of those like Reddit threads or you know what I mean, where they have the original poster who's like, hey, what do you guys think about this? Because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
really. And what she said was that her husband um is really involved in this one online game, right? Where
Oh,
you have like personas,
yep.
right? Or you have whatever you call them, your persona,
Yeah, and you
whatever,
have all,
right?
yep, there's a big one. Oh boy, do I have stories about those in infidelity. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I don't truly understand this, but a lot of times when people are in an online gaming platform, they also have a chat going on Discord, which is like, like a chatting app.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think
You
they
want
they
me to
set up
explain it to you?
they set up a room or something so they can
Yeah,
all
yeah,
talk to
because
each
there's
other.
only so much in a lot of those
These are
virtual play.
strangers
Yeah,
in real
yep,
life. Okay.
yep, absolutely. And there's a lot of the chat is modified in the games, but you can say whatever you want in a Discord app. So there you go.
Hey, so this woman's husband was spending, like he worked and everything, and she was a stay-at-home mom to like their 6 months old baby.
Hmm.
And so he worked like 40, 50 hours a week and would also spend 4 to 5 hours a day on this game.
Oh,
So, and of course, she was like in the beginning, like, well, he works all day, he should be able to like unwind, stuff like that. Well, in the game, his persona, right, is dating one of the other personas, right? Like
mhm.
I don't even know what the name of the game is. She never
Well,
really said it.
there's a lot of them. There's a lot
They're
of
like
them.
role playing,
They're
right? Like,
virtual reality games. Yeah.
right. And so they're role playing in the game. And she was kind of a little bothered by that because she was like, why is that even necessary? Like, this is a video game. And then, of course, it started to spill over into real life,
Oh boy.
right?
How did it spill over? In what concept? Like they
Well, so
mailed her stuff?
somehow the wife would know when he was on Discord, or she would, I don't know how, maybe she's in the Discord. I'm not quite sure. But
In the Discord.
I, I don't know. I'm out of my depth,
Come on,
Katie.
give me more information. Okay.
I'm out of my depth. And so he and this female
If she's even,
person,
but
they
okay, go.
started having conversations outside of Discord.
Okay. All right.
And the wife, like, apparently this guy, like, his phone was completely open. So
Okay.
she started reading it, and she confronted him and said, what the heck? Like if you guys kept it within Discord and within the game, fine. She's like, now you're texting each other,
Yeah.
and now you're it's sexting. And
Yeah.
he said, it's well, no, it's our roles in the game. It's our roles in the game. Like we have to, no,
No.
no, 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 no.
Uh,
And so she believed that at first, right? Because don't forget, she also was a 6 month old, and she's probably like, okay, whatever. But then she kind of started like keeping an eye on it, and it was a full blown affair.
yeah.
And she and this lady was married as well, right?
Yeah.
So there's this like blurred line thing, right? Like you're
Yeah.
meeting someone online who's in a gaming environment, in a gaming environment. Are you and then you're playing these roles that are required by the game. I've never heard of any video game where you're required to date someone,
Yeah.
but like
It's not.
so so then you're forming a relationship,
Yes.
and it gets confused because there's your gaming personas and then there's you.
Mhm.
And are you guys really like, do you know where you're at? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and things like that. And so so it ended up being a full-blown affair. He had feelings for this woman. Um, and the woman had feelings for him, and I don't think they'd ever met in person. How much
Yeah,
of
that's
this,
where I'm
Katie,
just
is
like, it's just,
fantasy? I mean, like,
well, I mean, I just threw my pen across the room. Oops.
are you
I'm
so worked up?
I'm so worked up. I got so let's go back eons and eons and eons, right? So
Can you do it?
the fact is, this type of cheating back in the day, even when you only wrote love letters, I mean, it's all been going on. So call it the virtual platform, call it whatever you want. It hasn't changed, just the apparatus has changed, and how we're doing it. But this fact that he tried to, I think I get hung up on is he tried to take his wife's ignorance about the platform he was on and use that against her. And that's not cool.
Did
Oh,
he not? Yes.
we have to do this. That's not. So there's video games that are strategic. There's video games that are virtual reality where you can actually go into a dynamic. You can create your own character and then you can walk around and interact with people. There's one, and I don't think it's around like it used to be, but it was called Second Life.
I've
And
heard of that.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's gone now, but I know people that had full-blown relationships. Um, and you couldn't really have sex, but you could kind of simulate making out on these things and
She
stuff.
said that they could simulate like some physical activity
Yeah, and this sounds like an
in
old enough story. Maybe it was Second Life that because Second Life was a huge issue when it came to infidelity. It was one of the first virtual platforms where it was just a social virtual platform. Now, if you go to certain games now, they have what they call lobbies, and you
okay.
just walk around and like if you want to play a certain game, there's a lobby or a hub, and then all the characters are hanging out there, and then you can be like, I'm going to play that game, and you can, push the button and play that game. But there's a purgatory or a hub where you can hang out. But these games are, yeah, they're intense, and you can have, and you can present yourself any way you want too. So that's why I'm curious. I mean,
Oh, I'd be hot. I'd be in like a cat costume with like ears,
you'd be
like
a cat. You
high
can take
heels.
on animal personas.
Want to be a kitten. Well, I mean, shit, isn't that what these people do?
Yeah, it
I
is.
mean,
And then you will see people with, walking around in animal uniforms, dragging other people around on leashes. And then they'd have these, you can create I'm going to look up like,
dragging people around on leashes. Oh my
they
God.
do, you can
Oh,
create whatever you want. And then, um, you can also create rooms. So you can go and look for example, oh, you know what? Second Life is still a thing. Oh, I'm about to go down a rabbit hole here. It's really,
Maybe this is what's missing from my life.
this has really progressed. I'm just gonna say.
Okay, put the brakes on.
Yeah.
Easy, Tiger.
But
Easy.
so anyway, here's like, there's gay, here's the gay women's second life. And so you can be whoever you want. And then they have these clubs where you can go and hang out and dance and stuff like that. And yeah,
But see, here's the thing. When you say, oh, you can go and hang out and dance and stuff, it's not really you. Like, you are
exactly.
not really
So,
doing this.
and then that's the problem where you run into a lot of people will then think they've met someone and then they meet someone and they're 400 pounds and they have a whole house full of,
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
no, but I mean, but I'm talking about misrepresentation. So you can be 400 pounds, that's fine. But if you're representing yourself as being something you're not and then not telling the truth, you know,
Yeah, you could be living in a trailer with 9 kids and
or
they
nine,
think
or
you're,
nine cats.
or 9 cats, and they think you're, this bombshell,
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a
vixen.
whole nother, I mean, that's a whole other episode of being catfished and what that happens. But so that's the premise is that there are these virtual games where they're social, it's socialization. Create whoever you want to be, look however you want to be, right? And meet whoever you want to meet. Um,
Fantasy.
yeah, full blown.
It's fantasy. And when she said that, her husband was playing this game and she had put in there, and I'm a stay-at-home mom with our 6 month old. I was like, okay, lady, like, do you see some little warning signs there? You became a fatherhood, first time father,
Hmm.
right? Probably, I mean, I hate to say this, but it's true. When some people become a parent for the first time,
Hmm.
and they're not the mother who's doing all of like the care right away, they don't like it.
Oh, that's pretty common. They've lost their friend, they've lost their partner. They're really not
Obligation,
needed. Those,
responsibility.
yeah, those first 6 months, and then you first have a child, and when it's not, engaging and they just look like little alien
Yep.
babies, they're
Yep.
just like, what's happening?
Or
Yeah.
they're crying all the time,
Yep.
or, so maybe he wasn't, I mean, she didn't mention anywhere in there what their sex life was like
Mm-hmm.
since the baby had been born,
Yep.
which sometimes plays into
Massively.
things.
Yeah.
So if he was looking, if he was feeling like his life had become drudgery because he had a, baby now,
Okay.
and you know what
Right.
I'm saying? So
Yes, but let me ask
fantasy,
you, let me
that's where
throw
the
one at
fantasy
you.
comes in. Okay.
Good point. Good point. So, would it be so she presented this, so it turned into a full-blown affair. Now, if they hadn't progressed onto direct texting, would that be considered a full-blown affair, or would it not be because they're still in this virtual environment?
Don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to
How do
classify it.
you identify like these live sex rooms where you just spend some money to masturbate with someone and then you turn off the camera? Is that cheating?
Well, I think you have to ask yourself, how would my spouse feel about this? How
Okay,
would my
that's what I'm
partner?
thinking. Isn't it all defined by what the status, what the parameters of your relationship is, right? And I
Yeah,
think that those conversations have to be, it's not like anybody wants to talk about what infidelity looks like to them when they're first in a relationship, but I think it's an important thing.
I think it's incredibly important. I think you do have to talk about it. I think that I mean, I would have to say that if I was involved with someone
Hmm.
and he played a video game 45 hours a day, that would be enough reason for me to not be involved with them.
Well, there
But if
you
he
go.
was playing a video game 4 to 5 hours a day, or he was simulating sex with someone,
Yeah.
I would definitely be out
Yep.
because there's something he's not getting from me
Yep.
that he needs from the game, right? Or maybe he prefers the relationship through the game because it's easier.
Yeah.
Hi, Ian. Because it's easier.
Ask Ian if he remembers Second Life.
You remember the game Second Life? it was like like an online like simulation
That sounds
game.
kind of familiar.
Sounds kind of familiar, he says.
Yeah,
What
he
do you
might.
say?
He,
You guys don't play anything where you're like having sex with somebody in like a room somewhere, are you?
Now do that in real life.
Oh, he does that in real life.
No, we're on the scene.
Okay. There, oh, you play the siege. I'm talking to Katie.
Hey, Katie, have you seen
That's
He's
awesome.
always gonna ask you.
Katie, have you seen the video where LeBron's like talking to him, his son, Bronny? And he's like hitting down on one on siege. No, you already know how it is. He goes, "What that mean? What that mean?" And he goes, "If you know, you know." He goes, "Guess I don't know." Then puts up a three. Greatest video of all time.
Greatest video of all time, apparently.
Uh-huh.
But like, so if someone is that engaged and spending that much time, not to mention if I was a new mom with a 6-month-old and my husband was playing a video game for 45 hours a day,
See, then I'm
I'd
stuck
be
on,
like,
I'm
are you
like even
fucking kidding
beyond
me?
what they're doing. Anything that they're doing extracurricularly for that long and going to work when I have a 6-month-old baby, I'm like, what are you doing?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you know what it's like to have a 6-month-old.
Ugh.
I mean, and if you're a stay-at-home mom and you're home
Yep.
with the baby all day, and when your spouse walks in the door, you want to break, and the guy jumps on a video game.
Mm-mm.
I mean, that's a whole other topic. But like, if someone is that involved, I mean, I would take a look at that and be like, they're not engaged in the relationship with me.
Well, I think that, right, there's the underlying dynamic. And, is it a symptom? It's such an odd thing because it can be a symptom of other things, right? Or it can be a thing within itself. It really can be both.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just think for me,
Hmm.
if my spouse or partner, it would be partner because I will never have a spouse again. Just saying. My partner was spending that much time, I would have to say, you know what? You're really not, and not that I'd be like whiny or pissy about it. I'd be like, you're really not engaged in our relationship.
Hmm.
And this is almost like a relationship for you.
Hmm.
Like, and it is. And like when we said about like the blurred lines, right?
Hmm.
Like this guy developed feelings for
Oh,
this
yeah.
woman in the game. Now, did he develop feelings because it's fantasy and it feels good? Or did he develop feelings because they really clicked and he felt like he had more in common with this woman than he did with his wife? And, like, and this woman's the one, like, I mean, you don't know. And that's what it's sometimes with extra with infidelity.
Yes.
Okay. Is it real or is it an illusion?
Du, du, du.
I mean, really, right? Is it real or is it not real? Like they talk about, when they talk about the statistics
Mhm.
of, a married couple getting divorced because of infidelity, and then whichever spouse going on to marry the other person that they were having the affair with, that those marriages, high percentage, end in divorce.
Hmm. Well, then you have to look at too at the individual, how much I love behavioral patterns because that's where your answers are. If that's your history and you're a serial marrier, say, because that's what you do every time you have an affair, you
You
marry the
marry the person.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's not
God.
it's not gonna pan out. I was talking about my ex. Boy, I was so young, but the writing was on the wall for me right in the beginning. I mean, when we first got together, she was still seeing one guy. She was finishing up an affair with another, and her ex was still coming over for Sunday dinners. I mean, come on, it couldn't. It couldn't.
What were you thinking?
I wasn't. I wasn't. God bless me.
Wow, she
So,
must be fantastic though. I mean, to keep all that going, like
can you imagine if you actually invested that energy in anything productive?
I don't have that amount of energy.
Yeah,
I
period.
don't have that. I don't. I
Yeah.
mean, frankly, and I'm not bashing men. I'm really not. Okay. I'm just going on the past few dates that I've gone on.
Yeah, you've had some doozies. Yeah.
I mean, first of all, You think I want more than one of those types of guys in my life? You gotta be kidding me. I'm not gonna put that effort into that. Like, Jesus. Like, if they were quality, I mean, but anyway. So that was this article. That was this article that I read. And then I told you I was doing some research the other day because we had wanted to talk about, you know,
I'm sorry, both of our phones are blowing up. Just give me one second. No, I'm listening. I'm totally
oh no,
listening.
what's going on? So I did a little digging,
Okay.
and there have, post infidelity stress disorder
Uh-huh. Yeah.
was coined as a phrase in 2005. It's not part of the DSM, not yet,
Yeah, I've never
because
heard
it's
of,
so
yeah.
similar to post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
But they coined their own phrase for it because there are so many atypical factors to
Yeah,
like
I have
to
diagnosed
infidelity.
folks with PTSD from affairs.
Yes.
Just straight up PTSD. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there it was from, again, from that site, Very Well Mind, which I think I quoted on another one.
I remember
Um,
you saying, yeah.
yep, Very Well Mind. And it is really interesting because they say it's a type of stress disorder. It's a stress disorder that is a type of anxiety disorder. After you
Okay.
found out that someone has been unfaithful to you. And, I mean, it says, if you have been cheated on by a loved one and are having a difficult time coping with it, you're not alone. A 2020 study estimates that anywhere between 30 to 60% of people who've been cheated on experience symptoms of anxiety, depression, PTSD,
Mm-hmm.
like, and we're talking insomnia, we're
Yep.
talking trauma recall, numbness, avoidance, anxiety, isolation and withdrawal,
Yeah.
like trust issues, hypervigilance,
Yep.
like
Oh,
the
yeah.
lists go on and
Yep.
on and on.
Yep.
And I mean, honestly, I think the number one thing that anybody should do who has been cheated on is immediately get a therapist.
Yeah.
It's got to be one of the most common reasons that people go into therapy, because when it happens, even though, like we said, you can say it's not about you, it's not about you, there's something going on with them, your first thought is, this
It's
person better
profound.
than me? I'm
Yeah.
not good enough. I'm
Absolutely.
worthless. They don't love me. Was this all an illusion? Did
Yep.
they ever care about me? Oh my God. And on and on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's, like we were saying, it is traumatic. It's one of the most hurtful things
Mm-hmm.
that can happen to a person.
Oh, yeah. If you were to take a survey and ask people, what's one of the most hurtful things that could happen in a relationship, that's going to hit up there.
That's
Yeah.
probably the number
It's
one.
probably number
And
one.
And it's funny that we're recording this right now because last night I was sitting here watching the Elton John special, which was so good.
Is it good?
Um,
Yeah.
Elton John and Brandy Carlisle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got a text and I was like, looked, and it was just a phone number, but I recognized the phone number. And it was the wife
Okay. Okay.
of,
Uh-huh.
and so I have not spoken with her in months.
Mm-hmm.
And so she texted me. I think she had been drinking a
Okay.
little bit,
Yeah.
and which is fine. And she was kind of like, not ranting, but kind of just like throwing out ideas, like just like kind of
Okay.
saying stuff, right? And at one point she said, and I was just kind of like, and I because I said to her, I said, are you okay? Are you okay? And she was like, no, she's like, I'm better than ever. I'm strong,
Oh, yeah.
like,
Okay.
and I'm like, oh, okay, and she's like, and I finally realized, okay, and this what to me was such a statement.
Okay.
I finally realized I didn't do anything wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she went into therapy. She went into
Mm-hmm.
therapy. She said that she talks to her therapist every day.
Ooh.
So, But for her to say, and it's like she was asserting it, like to me, like she's like, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm like, I think anybody would tell you that you didn't do anything wrong. You were
Mm-hmm.
a wife and a mother, and like, and he was out and off doing whatever, and now he's fiercely trying to get her back.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
And she's like, no. But like, see, that's what I mean about like infidelity being such a mind fuck on the person who's cheated on, because they literally collapse,
Oh,
like
yeah.
emotionally, mentally, probably physically,
Yeah.
just collapse. It's like they question their whole like existence.
Mm-hmm.
They really do.
Yeah. And one of the things too is that in the questioning of your own instincts, because
Mm.
it's a really important when you are working through that stuff is to realize that your instincts were there. Your instincts are fine. It was the
Right.
choice you made, whether, like me and my ex and all the red flags,
Well,
whether
I
you
mean,
chose,
Katie.
whether you chose to put them aside or not. And that's
But I mean, but isn't it great that you can look back on that and laugh now? I mean, seriously. And I mean, that's a point I think I hope everybody gets to. But like that you can look back and be like, ending one thing and then still had the ex coming over. And
yeah.
then you're like, all right, pick me, pick me.
I was minding my own business, and then she did her thing with me, and then I thought I was it, and then there's other things going. Okay.
And you're
Uh,
like, oh, okay, there's other people involved. But so in your profession, and here Lulu goes again,
oh, I
favorite
can't hear
neighborhood
her.
dog. Yes, I know. How do you work with people that come to you and say, and do they do a lot of them come as couples,
Mhm.
or do a lot of them come like on their own
No.
and try, and how many of them are the person who cheated and how many of them are the person that was cheated on?
So there's three different versions, and they pretty much follow this path, right?
Okay.
You have the ones that come together because the truth has come to the surface. And not that it is particularly always the men, but I'll use that for an example. He's been
Okay.
caught. He's profoundly devastated and accountable and really doesn't understand what his motivations were and wants to heal the marriage and is a big I fucked up and I don't know how to she said counseling, I'm here, I'll do whatever. There's those, right? And a lot
Right.
of those I'll run into that and we'll do the exploring and discover. And this is not a chronic cheater. This is someone that did it once. Is like, I don't even know where I was or why, right? So you have those dynamics, and often they come in together. The light has been shed on the situation, and they're trying to find their way back. So you got that, right? Then you've got the ones that come in where the one suspects it, damn it, but the other one, I think, but it doesn't necessarily, that's not what brings them to me. Often it'll be because they're not communicating, or this one isn't being clear with me, da da da. And then there's all this weird stuff that starts to surface. And me, I'm going, oh yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right.
You're not going to the gym for 6 hours a day. It's just, and if that individual chooses to believe that and doesn't think that's an issue, and then this person has a history of cheating and stuff. And those things, um, usually the closer and closer and closer we get to the truth of the cheating, usually the one who's cheating throws their hands up and go, this is stupid. Why do I even come to these things? They leave, the other one continues to come back, and eventually it comes to the surface, and often those relationships don't last. And then I do have the couples that come to me who almost cheated, didn't quite do it, but caught it quickly enough to go, we got something that we have needs that are unmet, and this almost happened. And those are not as common.
Right.
And those are even more tentative because those folks, when they come to me, there's usually still a lot of stuff that isn't, maybe they did kiss or something like that. There's stuff we still don't know. At least the ones who come to me with the full blown affair, all the shit's on the table and they're just like, I fucked up, right? But the ones where the almost cheating happened, sometimes they did cheat, but only information that came out was the almost, and those get a little hinky too.
Well, I mean, honestly, how many people do you think there are that say, I almost did when they really did?
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit of a confession. It's like saying, like, I almost did is kind of like gauging their response.
Yeah.
And if the spouse freaks out, then they're like, well, I'm definitely not fucking telling her that I really did because
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yep,
I
you're
mean,
absolutely
honestly, I
right.
think that happens.
Yep.
Um, it's like a half truth. And and that and what is so difficult about this topic is like we talked about the absolute betrayal of trust. And you know how horrible it is
Yep.
to not ever believe, like to not feel like you can believe somebody again.
Yes, and then
That
having to
you
work
just,
through that and not let it bleed over into your new relationships.
oh, well,
Uh-huh.
that's another part of it, right? Like
Uh-huh.
when they were talking in that article about hypervigilance,
Mhm.
and they were like, well, and then people, get out of those relationships, try to heal, whatever. But then they start dating someone else and they're looking for red flags and they're inventing shit in their head that's not happening,
Yep.
to basically avoid feeling that way again.
Yep.
And they just go, what, like they said, like trauma recall, right? Like, go on a date, go on another date. Oh, exhibits maybe like some part of the personality that's like the ex, and then is they're just like that guy or just like her or whatever. And these people that they're dating they don't have a chance.
Well,
They don't have a shot.
I mean, the brain categorizes things to create safety, right? So we categorize, like we're in the woods and we know the bears and the lions and stuff. We categorize those are the ones that are vicious and will eat us, right? And then there's the herbivores. We've categorized them. We're safe from them. So when we start seeing behaviors, our brain starts to categorize, oh, cheaters do that. Oh, no cheaters do that, because then we've already been screwed. So we need to categorize, so we can understand, so we can prepare. But unfortunately, if you're a little reactive, you're going to categorize too narrowly, or incorrectly. And a lot of times you'll just drive people away because they're like, whoa, I didn't do that. But
Well, because why? I mean, in some of these cases, because the people are so reactive, you're being blamed for something you didn't do.
yeah, I've run
Somebody
into
else
that
did
a
it,
lot too. Yeah, where
right?
it's just
Somebody
like,
else did it.
or
So
the
you
projection where someone is blaming you and you didn't do anything, but they're actually doing it. I run into that a lot too.
That's a fun one. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, I can see how, I mean, if someone's so reactive, and, it's one thing for, to explain to someone new that you're dating, like, I'm sorry, I got out of a relationship where I was cheated on. And,
Yeah.
and then the other person, if they're a decent person, be like, oh my gosh, I completely
I'm going to
understand.
need a lot of reassurance, and this
Need a
is,
lot of
yeah,
reassurance. But some people can only do that for so long. I mean,
fair.
like, if you're reassuring and reassuring and they're still not believing you,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
then I
your
think
fight
you
to
get
fill
out.
them up. You got to get out, and that's the responsibility of the person who's been traumatized too. I mean, I guess you could take that in any context. If you have a thing that is a something attached to you that's not healthy, whatever it is, and it's affecting your relationship, if you're not taking responsibility to getting that thing fixed, I think you got it, whether it's alcoholism or PTSD or whatever it is, and it's directly resulting in affecting the relationship. How long do you stay?
And that's why. And so how do people, what do you think? What's the best way to help somebody get over that?
So there's actually some very, very strategic things, and there's activities you can do. And when people come in and they really want to heal from, first of all, let me tell you, number one, in fact, it was here's the thing. If you've been cheated on, I have never seen this benefit you if you are the cheatee, right? Do not ask them what they did with that person. Do not ask them for the blow by blow, the play by play. That is your lizard brain.
Blow by blow. Sorry,
That's
sorry.
what that's your brain trying to categorize and control something that's not within your control. So your natural inclination when you don't understand something is to gain knowledge, right? We go and research. This is not a place you want to gain knowledge. I've
I would
never
just
found it.
assume
Yeah.
that there was lots of hot sex
Yeah.
because it was new and exciting.
Yeah.
Okay,
And there
just
you
assume.
go. And you
Just
can
assume.
and then deal with it from that point of reference. But don't ask, don't do that to yourself. I have never seen that pan out well. There is no reason other than trying to control the dynamic. So number one, don't do that. Never goes well. And by the time they come to me, and if they've already done that, ooh, I gotta backtrack. There's some things and yeah. But there are very strategic steps, and whether it's cheating or any level of betrayal, to regain trust that if two people are going to do it together, it's a lot of work depending on, how profound that betrayal was. And I mean work in the sense of these are the things you have to do every day. And this is what it's going to look like because trust is based on consistency. So if you fuck up and you're not consistent, you just went back 3 steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I think for some people, and then again, like we said, everyone's the villain in someone's story. You hear about couples who are like, well, let's work at it, let's work at it.
Mhm.
And whoever was the one that was cheated on, because this person cheated, then they're wrong about everything, right? And
Yeah.
they can't do anything right. And
Yeah.
and then it's going to be, they argue about something totally unrelated and the person's like, well, you cheated on me. I mean, like, and these are people who are saying, well, no, I want to work on this, I want to stay with you, let's get past this. But then they just want to punish them.
That's
They
the
just
other
want
piece.
to punish them.
That's the other piece. So you've got the one person like yeah, you can't do that. At some point, there's got to be some agreement, and that's part of the healing process when I'm first working with people is number one, when you come to me and you genuinely want to work on this, I'm going to give you, there's going to be activities that we're going to engage in, and I'm going to give you something new that's going to add to that list every week. And I don't give them more than like 3 things we're doing simultaneously. But the other thing that I say is number one, nobody's throwing in the white flag while you're in therapy because the fear of abandonment is so heightened right now. So if you're pissed off, saying, well, I'm out of here, I want a divorce is off limits. So that's number one. You don't get to say that unless you're serious. Then you come and you sit down with me and then we talk about that's a different conversation. And the other point is I'm sorry, my phone's blowing up, I'm distracted.
Okay.
It's just my goodness, what a busy day. So and then the other point is you can't keep using that as ammo. That's the
Right.
other rule too. So you can't be like, yeah, well, fuck it all, you cheated on me. No. So you can't use it as ammo and you can't throw in the white flag and you have to follow these steps to the best of your ability. And then we take it from there.
What do you counsel them on intimacy?
Oh, actually, I put a break on that right away. So we
Sex
get
is
that.
off the table.
Yeah, it's off the table right now. There's too many triggers. So that is such a gradual process that I reintroduce that process back into one another's lives. Because and that's interesting. Intimacy counseling, I mean, without there even being cheating, I can't even tell you all the multi-layers that involves. And I always feel so honored when people come in so transparent about when they're struggling with that stuff. And so I take it off the table. I mean, and I have found they're like, well, oddly enough, our sex life never faltered. That's a way we connect. And I'm like, that's great. However,
Just not right now.
just
I
gonna
mean,
pull it back.
like,
Yeah. And then because we have to get a baseline and then figure out what's safe and what's not, as opposed to we're going along and then we hit something that's not safe and I'm out now. We're not going to do that.
I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, a big part of what I run into a lot with the intimacy is all will be fine, and then all of a sudden, and this is why they're like, no, our sex life is fine. And I'm like, nope. And I will tell you every single time, Ellen, every single time, even the ones that don't listen to Dr. Miller, This is what happens is that they'll come back in. Well, everything was fine. And then he was doing this one thing. And then I thought, did he do that to her? Every single time. And I'm like, well, this is why I told
Did
you to.
he learn that from her?
Yeah.
Like, right? Or did she
Did he
learn?
say, why did he say that? Is that, yeah.
See, that's why I don't know how people get over it and continue on.
Yeah.
I
It's very,
don't.
very hard. I have seen people do it. But it is,
I
it's
just don't think it's
work.
in my nature.
Yeah. And that's,
I
you know
don't.
what? And I think that's one of the beautiful things too, is if you know it's not, you know, when it happens with folks that are a little what that are younger, they come in, they don't know where their limit is. And then I find that when I have folks that, have been around, they're older, they'll come in, they go, yeah, I already know, I can't do this. And they might have even said it up front, look, I'm all good, but if you cheat on me, I just don't have the capacity to come back from that, you know.
Yeah.
And some
I
people know.
just I just would feel, I mean, maybe because physical intimacy is so important to me in a relationship.
Mhm.
And so it wouldn't be a matter of it not being frequent enough
Yeah,
for my partner. So that wouldn't be the issue. But like,
it would be performance based, or it would be some
it
sort
would,
of, yeah, am I, but you've talked about, some of where your vulnerable places are the am I good enough places. So that's kind of just whether it's, physical intimacy or emotional, whatever for you. So if that, um, uh, hold on one second. So that's going
okay.
to be a natural place for it to show up for you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then you add the vulnerability of it being physical intimacy. Nah, that's not going to fly. So for you to know that, like, no, I can't do that, you
I
know?
just can't. I mean, I could tell myself all day long that I'm like the best thing on toast. But like if I was dating someone and they cheated on me, I would plummet. I would. I mean, I'd get myself back out of it again,
You
but
would.
it would like make me nauseous. Do you know what I mean?
And it
Especially
does.
like
Actually,
if we were
that
in an involved, like cared about each other. Like I'm not talking about if it was just someone I was like just sleeping with.
that's different.
Um, that's different. Um, but if it was someone I cared about, if it was someone I like really cared about, like I think my reaction would be very like physical, like nauseous.
It would
I'm
be
not saying I'd
visceral.
get crazy, but I'd be like, oh, like I wouldn't be able to stop thinking about it.
No.
I'd be one of those people. I'd be like, oh
And I
God.
will tell
Mm,
you, it is very hard for um, even people who don't already know they're like that and aren't normally like that for it to go in to go it turns into that. And then there's
it
like
does.
all these steps that you have to go through to work through that. That's why I'm saying I'd rather have them here going, oh, my mind, wandered. Okay, let's talk about that, because that's about the need, not
Right.
about, you know what. Okay, so I'm trying to add a butter lamb to my Instacart order.
Oh my God, my Instacart's gonna be here at 3:22.
Now here's the thing, there's
I didn't
no
know they
butter.
had butter.
They don't, but I know they do, right?
But if you went in person, you'd be able to find
Look,
it.
I've got the most brilliant Instagram person. She goes, do you want me to replace that butter with the Easter butter lamb? Or do you want the butter that you put in your cart? I don't want to get the wrong butter. And I'm like, I added butter. Yes, please. She said, yes, please. What? Easter lamb butter.
Yes, please. Yes, please. What? Tell me.
And then I should, and she's probably wondering, did you say that to the last Instagram shopper? Yes, please. Instacart shopper.
Now she's wondering, am I her favorite Instacart shopper? I mean, see,
Wait, I
it's
should I should tell Faye she's my
so
favorite.
easy to do. I actually have two Instacart shoppers that have done like in excess of like 10 like deliveries for me. And the one lady, when I see it's gonna be her, and she'll send me a message, be like, hey girl. Like, "Hey, what's up?" Then we hang out in my driveway, like after she delivers it.
Yeah, me too. I've got a couple
Camera. Her
like
name's
that
Camera.
too. Well, I
Oh my
don't
God, my kid's
Faye, but I
laughing.
am impressed with Faye. I added butter, yes, please. And I did. I said lamb butter. That's weird. Oh no, she did it. She's brilliant. We love Faye.
You're gonna have to give her a nice extra tip.
I'm gonna hook her up with a little butter.
She's really working. She's working today. But anyway, okay,
All right,
so
we gotta go.
we
both
gotta go because we both have
we
meetings.
have a hard stop.
But
We could go on this, but maybe this would be a good lead in to polyamory and what
Sure.
that looks like, and we could say, because it does happen.
we can cap this one and then go into polyamory in our next one. You know what I mean? Like little snippet at the beginning and then segue.
Now I just said thank you for the lamb. None of this is going well. I don't.
Make sure you get her name right.
I
Okay.
know.
She
Well,
probably knows what you meant.
Jack's
Oh
gonna
my
have
God.
to pick up the order anyway. All right.
You were so funny. Okay. All right. Gotta go.
right.
Mine's
Okay.
probably out there right now.
I know. All right.
Driving
Go to your
now.
meeting.
Yeah.
All right.
I've got shit outside. Okay.
All right. Next time. Bye.
Next time. Bye.